forget, you can hear the full-length, longer version wherever you get your podcasts. I'm looking for approval from Nina Conti because she is my guest today. Welcome.
Hello.
And has turned up in a similar thing with the poppers and, you know.
I know, they're not laminate, they're just quite a basic silver.
We look like a country music act.
My thing is it rides up at the back and makes that the cold where you'd have your tramp stamp.
It does rise up. Mine is rising up. And it's also clinging around my sculpted abs, but we'll come to those later. Thanks for doing this.
It's a pleasure. Thank
you. You are here specifically because at this year's Edinburgh Festival, you are going to be making a big splash.
I'm going quite big. It's at the Grand, so it's a big room for Edinburgh. It's a big old greedy room. It's a lovely room, and it'll be havoc in there, I think.
How many times have you done Edinburgh?
100.
And can you see that it's just grown each time?
It has grown because it was like 7 people in the first place. I had one of those Edinburghs for the first time I went there with 1 million puppets, and I was doing a sort of ventriloquist play, which wasn't to be advised, really. It was quite funny, but it was weird to do ventriloquism in a play because puppets seem to see through the fourth wall. But I went for this serious play and like people didn't really come, and it was really, really tough, you know, to keep your spirits up for a whole month of no one coming.
The following year, did it become more stand-up, a show with the puppets?
Yeah. Then I did a little spot on Nicholas Parsons' show with the monkey, and I started talking, in real life with the monkey on, and the audience was just all laughing, and I thought, oh, this is better. I've got to be.
Is that where the penny dropped on the show with Nicholas?
Yeah, it really dropped. Because I just did a little bit without really thinking and thought, oh, I should be doing this as stand-up, not in a play.
And you were just improvising in what you said?
I was just answering Nicholas's questions with the monkey. But in the play, the monkey's acting. Do you know what I mean? It's ridiculous. And if I was ever to do that again, I would feel ridiculous. I look at that monkey's little face and I think, are you acting? Oh, this is so ridiculous. We're pretending.
So you do it on Nicholas's show and you think this is great. And then 12 months later, you're back? Or did you immediately start thinking, right, what can I do? What can I do with this?
Yeah, then I was friends with Arthur Smith then, and he lived in Balham, and there was this club called the Balham Banana, and it was like a competition night. Yeah, it was a competition night, and he said, you should try your luck at that. And I went round his house earlier, and he had... I was making the monkey hump a pint glass, and he was like, well, do that. You know, that is funny. And I was like, really? But there's not much words. There's not much content. It's like, well, I don't think it matters. That's funny when you do that. So I did that and won that competition that night. So that seemed also like a green light, like, keep doing this. They like it when the monkey humps the pint glass.
Yeah.
But it was incremental because I was still scared to speak, and I was like... The few jokes I held on to with all my might, and they weren't that good.
Yeah.
Like the first one was off the internet.
Well, you just got it from the internet?
I got it off the internet. It was, why did the monkey fall out of the tree? Because he was dead. I got that off the internet. And I thought, I've got the humping bit, and I've got the monkey, the dead monkey joke. That's like 3 minutes.
And would you talk to the audience as well? Would you respond to the audience?
No, I was really quite scared. I was actually more scared in that environment than I had been on the Nicholas Parsons show. So I had to like grow my confidence very incrementally.
But your sort of journey to perform is really interesting because it comes, correct me if I'm wrong, a very strong, disciplined clowning background.
Well,
but by which I mean proper study of it.
I guess that the serious clowning education came later when I started doing clown courses and stuff. But I cut my teeth with Ken Campbell.
That was after that.
Yeah, Ken Campbell I don't know. Do people know who Ken
Well, I
Campbell
know who
is?
Ken Campbell was.
Yeah, I mean, he was unforgettable if you met him. He was so vivid, and he was quite frightening. He was very smart, and he was doing. I loved his shows at the National, so I kind of sought him out, and I did the Warp with him, which was a 24-hour play, and he really put everyone through their paces. So that was rigorous clowning in a way. Like if you had a scene with someone, he'd get someone funnier than you to stand behind you and do something better than what you were doing to make sure you kept your focus. It was like, that's quite a tough lesson.
During the performance or during the rehearsal?
Both. That you were never safe. You always had to be your best.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was wanting to be an actress, and I had nothing other than like my dad being an actor.
Your father is Tom Conti?
Yes.
Was your mum an actor?
And my mum was an actor as well. So I was with a little bit of a chip on my shoulder going into the acting profession because I was embarrassed by the nepotism. And then I sought Ken out because he was opposite of my dad. My dad was quite conventional and quite mainstream and was doing well. Ken would do anything he could not to earn any money or ever please the powers
really
that be.
To you because it was the opposite of my boringly successful and acclaimed and loved father.
So I
bet your dad had worked so hard to get that.
Yes, he was so supportive, and he'd got me a good agent as well.
And there you go. Ooh. Bloody hell, Nina.
I want to work with the underground crew that's sort of semi like a cult, and it's doing a 24-hour play that no one's going to be awake through. Yeah. So I went that way, and that's where I learned some weird stuff. And Ken was so rigorous that you had to, I don't know, he just threw you in the shit constantly. Is it okay to say that word?
Oh, feel free.
He got me some false teeth. He sent me to a Hasidic orthodontist in Stamford Hill to get false teeth made, like Beatrice Dahl's teeth with a big gap in the middle. And he gave me a magazine which had Beatrice Dahl squirting milk down her tits with this gap through her teeth. And I went into this very observant household saying, could you make me teeth like that? That was the kind of prank he was always pulling. He was like sending you into... Yeah. Anyway, so I got these teeth made, and that helped me be a lot more liberated in my performance because I didn't look like me, and I felt not... And I think that's like the first foray into almost ventriloquism or mask work or whatever was with that.
Because at that point, there's no ventriloquism... There's no mask word. That hasn't happened yet.
Nothing.
You're the classic actress, but happens to have a very famous dad.
Yeah.
So he gets you the agent. Were you getting work? Were you getting bits and bobs?
Nothing came from the agent.
Well, there we are. Well, the people who say nepotism, if the nepotism was effective, you'd have got some work.
You'd think. I know. I was like, no, this isn't enough.
Where's this nepotism I've heard so much about?
I know. Why can't I get a piece of that? No, you've got to go and work and find your own way. And so I did all the Ken Campbell plays and everything. At the end of that, I got a job at the Royal Shakespeare Company, not with many lines at all. I was just background. And you weren't allowed to be background in a fun way like in Ken's shows. You had to just be furniture.
You're just a body, basically.
Yeah, just a body.
Jesus, what's that like night after night?
I used to get the giggles. I found it so pompous. I found it really hard.
There's no creativity in it, is there?
No.
And we all want to be, or people who do this work, just want to be creative.
Yes.
You're not being creative.
No, and it made you feel naughty. And devilry would come into my head as I'm standing primly, and I would start to snort.
Was there a lot of this? That was often the way you'd have to stand.
Yes, hands are clasped. And who stands like that ever? Yeah. Anyway, so that was a different experience. So I wrote to Ken during that and said, "I'm kind of losing my mind a bit here. What should I be doing?" And he said, "Well, you're a clown that never wanted to wear the nose, I think. So I think you should be a ventriloquist. And that way it will all come out." And I was so disappointed. I thought, I wanted help here, Ken. I don't want to be a ventriloquist. You're so weird. I hate that stuff.
It's a hell of a left field suggestion,
That's
isn't
the worst answer you could have given. But he's so vivid with his words, and his will is so strong, and he's so frightening that I thought, God, I've got to give it a go, or he'll be so angry with me for not giving it a go. So I did start to learn. He sent me a Teach Yourself Ventriloquism kit, which had like a lolly stick and things in it.
Not everybody, even if they were given a kit, would be able to master ventriloquism. How quickly did you think, oh, I can do this?
At the beginning, I thought, I can't do this at all. This is like rubbing your stomach and patting your head and also playing the violin at the same time. But then I don't know, broke a little through a wall when I started to film myself. And I filmed myself with the monkey.
Where did the monkey come from?
Monkey came from the RSC because the guy playing Henry V owned this monkey. His mum had given it as a first night gift. But I'd been making that monkey hump pint glasses from day one as soon as I saw it.
Of course you had.
Because what else do you do?
Of course you had, yes.
What do you do with a glove
anybody in
puppet?
your position would have done that.
Anybody with any sense puts a glove puppet on and it starts humping inanimate objects.
Yes.
So I was doing that and people were laughing and I thought, with the ventriloquism, I thought, I like that monkey much better than these old dolls. That humping monkey's the funny one. And I must find out if his mouth opens because it wasn't meant to. It was meant to be like a sooty guy that had just a finger in each arm. So I went and got him and there is an opening in the mouth and I had to pull out some stuffing and get my hand up there all the way into the head where it's not meant to go. There's a squeaker in the way and you have to force and you have to just, it's a teensy little movement. And then I turned him to me and he said, "Hello, Nina." And I was, whoa, powerful. You know me. You know something. You're the guy. It was very light bulb.
And the voice that you give him, that just came?
Yes.
The way you describe it there sounds as if it just came.
Yes, it comes when you look at it. You think that little silly monkey face needs a very voice, the best gravitas you got. As deep as you can go.
Ventriloquism is a fascinating thing. It's when I was younger, it seemed like there was a lot of it. Was there a lot of it on the telly when you were growing up?
No, it was frugal, but we couldn't forget it. It was Orville mainly.
Oh, wasn't it? Yeah. What about Ray Allen and Lord Charles? I remember that.
I missed them a little bit. I remember Orville.
Yeah.
I didn't know ventriloquisms. Ventriloquists. I didn't really know any. I certainly didn't think it was for me. I thought it was something of the old times.
I came across, well, when I do this small man in a box thing that I do to some acclaim, that came about with me thinking about ventriloquists one day at home.
Oh yeah.
And thinking how they call it throwing your voice, don't they?
Yes.
And as if it's, so I started going and stuff like that, and then out of that came, "Hi there, how you doing out there?"
That's so good.
No, but no, for you to say that, I mean, come on.
No, it's so good. No, because I've tried. I can't do that.
You can't do that?
And they tell you, the ventriloquist, because I've been to a ventriloquist convention, and I wanted to do that, and the person who was best at that was a guy called Nachos, and he told me you have to, like, you're lifting a weight.
Yeah.
You tense everything. Did it almost for a minute. Before I made that noise, there was a tiny one that was better.
Well, for me, it's more just, yeah. Well, there we are. That's the beginnings of it. But I don't know that I'm clenching around the diaphragm.
So I'm putting too much effort down there, am I?
I put it all
right back there, close it all down. Right back there, close it all down.
There we are. You see?
Okay.
Just close. So there's that opening of the throat or whatever, your esophagus, whatever it is.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. And you just.
So this is when you go, let me out, like that.
Yeah.
Is that the kind
Well,
of...
there's also the things you do, the stuff in the chest, isn't there? Which is or this.
Mm. It's very hard to enunciate.
Yeah. And also the tighter you go, the smaller. So how about this? So the normal one would be,
"Hi there, how you doing out there?"
but if you really squeeze, you get.
It's amazing. No, it sounds like an old-fashioned American news broadcaster.
One of those guys,
Can you
yeah.
do anyone else down there?
Well, I can give him another accent.
Can you make a Scottish?
Yeah, and go.
Do my dad in there.
Geez, okay. I'll do him in Paddington 2.
Okay.
Hang on.
Say, Nina,
Gotta
you've
get my
got to
head
find
round
a
it,
new...
haven't I?
Yeah, Nina, you have to find a
so-
new métier or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know now. No, I can only do sort of Billy Connolly. I don't know. Why do they do that? I don't know. They do though, don't they? Oh, wee jobbies. Look at that. I don't know.
It's really
I'm
good.
married to Pamela Stevens. I really am.
I love that.
Coogan can do an echo.
Really?
He can't do the small man in a box, but he can, without using his hand, do a station announcement that goes, passengers, 350 to Cardiff. He can do that just with whatever's in his mouth.
Whatever's in it.
Let's not go there.
Easy.
Nina Conti bringing the tone down somewhat. This show, and I have to put my glasses on to go back to this. Whose face is it anyway? 7:30, hell of a slot in the Pleasance Grand from the 31st of July to the 25th of August. That's a proper run, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a long run. Yeah, I'm excited.
That's like
for it.
Adele in Las... Oh, no, she just does weekends, doesn't she? But it's like Elton John in Las Vegas then.
Yeah, I'm excited about it.
And you're going to go all around the country with it, aren't you?
I'm going on tour with it. Yes, I'm going all around the country.
That's what I meant by all around the country.
Favourite
Yes.
places around the country. It's the show that I've been working towards all this time, I think, because I've been doing this work with face masks on people in the audience.
Very funny.
And I've been also at the same time trying to craft shows, because you know in Edinburgh you're meant to have a new show every year and it's got to be a certain thing. And so I do that because that's the rhythm of the thing. But really what I want to do is anything I like. And so this show is anything I like.
Right.
I've been doing the dating show where I think, okay, well, I've got to sort of put people on dates in the mask and thinking, well, this is really wants to go this way because this guy's a civil engineer and he's got so much I want to talk to him about more than just this dating
The
format.
masks, for people who haven't seen it, you put these big, they look plastic or silicone or something, and you can control the jaw to make the big exaggerated mouth go up and down. And so Nina does that, and you can go and look it up now. Well, have a little minute to look it up and then come back to us. And you get them talking to each other.
Yes.
So you see the real people, their real eyes and the sort of top of their face. And it's very, very funny. When you appear to be improvising that,
Yes.
how much do you have a hard drive in your head of conflict and situations that you know will work?
I have to throw that away if I do have that because it gets in the way of what the funniest thing will be if
That's
I'm very
interesting.
present to
That's
what's
interesting.
happening. And so I put the mask on them and then what I have to do is watch them like a hawk and read their body language and their eyes to see what it looks like they would be saying. And if I fall into alignment with that, it's always more rewarding and I have a better path to go on. Because invariably there's a split quite early on where I fail to say what they really want to say and that makes them laugh or that makes them frustrated. And then there's so much content suddenly.
Well, once they start giving you something with their eyes or something, they
or if it's panic or if it's laughter or whatever, and they gesture more to try and explain more and it's misinterpreted further, but I try not to misinterpret too much. I do it a couple times because I know there's a funny there, but actually I find it more rewarding if I try and enter into as real a conversation as I can with the person, with the game
about
being
the
that they
nature
can't
of the
speak.
people that you choose? Here we go. Discuss this. You don't want people that are desperately keen to get up on the stage.
No, I avoid the overkeen.
Yes.
I like the kind of person that looks magnanimous enough and okay with themselves enough. I don't want to make fun of anyone
You've
horribly.
got two extremes. You've got the one that would be
anyone.
painfully shy and it would be traumatic for.
Yeah.
You've got the exhibitionist who would love to be up on the
You
stage.
can't wait to dance and thrust.
All
I mean,
that-
God,
yeah,
all the
I know.
thrusters. Oh,
yeah,
my
yeah,
days.
That's horrible.
Yeah.
So in the middle, I always say you want someone with like a nice moral code, with an embarrassment threshold that's at a nice position that you
Exactly.
can play with.
Exactly.
But sometimes you can get that wrong, can't you? You can misread sometimes a person, and the minute they stand on the stage, you go, oh, right. Oh,
it's tricky
yeah.
if that happens. It's tricky, but I tend to always make them win in some way, even if the audience has gone, that person's a dick.
That's interesting.
I'm still responsible for them because I put them on my stage. And if everyone hates them, that's my. I've made everyone hate them, so I have to try and make everybody love everybody because that's definitely the most feel good thing. But it rarely happens. That it hasn't happened many times. It's happened more in sort of private gigs and stuff where someone says, "Oh, get Jim, he's a real laugh," and then turns out I don't know. It's just a.
Do you have a healthy sideline in private gigs? I could imagine some rich family saying, "Oh, we should get the girl with the. I mean, that's bloody funny. Well, look, we got your 50th coming up. I'll get her to come and do 3 hours."
You give me PTSD. Yeah, I've done a fair amount of that.
And you'll do those at all sorts of places. You'll do them in their houses and things.
All kinds.
On their
I've been
boat.
everywhere. I've done it all. And it's very hoary. And I kind of, well, I mean, it pays very well, but I have done a lot of that. Yeah.
Oh, you get no judgment from me.
No, well,
tell me about some of the bad
I've
ones.
seen you at a few.
We've been on corporate things,
probably
but we have. Yeah, oh yeah, I've definitely been on corporate people.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about private things separate to corporate. Corporate's like at the
Yes.
Grosvenor House or somewhere like that, okay? But I'm talking about the ones where you go and perform on some rich person's boat or in their house.
Yes,
or
island,
whatever.
that kind of thing. I know. Well, there's less of those. They're not that frequent. I've done a few of those, and you do feel strange. You do feel very strange. It reminds you of back in the old days of the court when they would bring the idiot out in the box and get, it does feel a little bit like that. Let's bring out the funny one.
Yeah.
Unlock it for a few hours after dinner. Yeah.
So is what you might call straight acting now, does that play any part in your life, or are you now forever a turn?
No. Well, I was
specialist act.
Yeah, I guess so. I was just in Spinal Tap. That was acting.
Oh, I want to talk about that. Right, so hopefully you know that This Is Spinal Tap is one of the greatest films.
One of my favourites.
I mean, for comedians,
yeah.
it is the Holy Grail.
Yeah,
And now they are making a proper, because they've done bits and bobs over the years. In the talk about this new film, they're back together. Well, they've got back together quite a few times and done bits of. But this is a proper one. It's Rob Reiner again. With
Yes.
them? Yeah.
Yes.
Right. So, and you are in it. What do you do? What was it like?
I don't know what I'm allowed to say.
Just tell us a little bit.
A little bit. Well, I'm in it. I'm in it. Monkey's not in it.
Right. So is this you?
It's improvised. So, and you get no steering. The script, it gives very spare details. Like somebody will arrive. That's it. You will come here and so you just have to start speaking when they say action. And you don't know whether it's going to be any good or not. And it's quite scary. You don't know what's allowed. You don't know how extreme you can be in terms of what plot points you can bring up.
And you don't. So, and tone-wise, you just go from the first film. Do you to judge the tone?
I guess you go tone-wise. And I think also with those guys, I think too much clever idea or pre-written thing, it's not really cool.
Yeah.
It's better to just be, And
which of the three of them did you play your scenes with?
Yeah, I Rob and Chris.
Oh, sorry, four of them if you include. So Rob Reiner, Harry Shearer, Michael McKean, and Christopher Guest.
Yeah.
So which ones did you
Am
do?
I allowed to say that? We're going to get in trouble. I'm with Rob and Chris, mainly.
How exciting.
And it was
That's
really
about as good as it gets.
amazing.
I mean, that really is.
Yeah, it's lovely. I mean,
if you're talking improvised
is amazing.
stuff,
yeah.
you'd say that and maybe Curb Your Enthusiasm, and you'd go, well, those are the gold standards.
Yes. And Chris is funny, so funny all the time. And we were just out having a coffee, and he went into a character that was, he's from royal. He's not from royalty. He's from lords.
There's a Hayden
Hayden
Guest.
Guest. Yes, and he did a character like that, and I want him to do it. I want him to do that in a film or on. I want to get him 10 minutes at a nice little comedy club, and he can turn up incognito and do that Hayden Guest character. Oh my God, it made me die.
You've directed as well, haven't you, recently?
I just directed a film, yeah.
Tell us about that.
Big thing. That's a
You're like
big
a creative
thing in my life.
powerhouse, Nina, at the moment. Is that fair to say?
I'd always wanted to make a film, and I've done it. I'm really, really delighted.
You sound like,
I mean,
I've done it.
But it's terrifying, because having all that responsibility and that money, and do it for the first time, and having a crew, and they're looking at you like, "Whoa, do you really know what you're doing? This is your first time." And you're like, "I think I do know what I'm doing," but I it's like hard to convince everybody all the time. And but I made it with Shanoa Allen, and I wrote it with Shanoa Allen, and he's a brilliant improviser, and so. It's a love story between a man and a woman who doesn't want to come out of a monkey suit. And that's obviously me.
I wonder where that
came
idea
from.
Big
metaphor for my life. And so it really made a lot of sense to me, a kind of Beauty and the Beast, where the beast is more attractive than the person inside, in a way, just more fun. Yeah. Which I always thought when I ever see Beauty and the Beast, I don't want that douchebag prince coming out. It's a real demotion, I think. Anyway.
Well, I mean, just the dimensions.
Yeah, exactly, the dimensions. But the dynamic between...
Specifications.
The beast all the way.
I mean, for heaven's sake.
Yes, whatever floats your boat, Rob. But, so that's the love story.
Well, I'm imagining. I mean...
Pure. Imagine for as long as you want to.
You know what I mean?
Yes, linger there.
Just yes. One hates to think. No, I'm not going to use this word. Carry on.
So I directed this film, this love story, and I directed it. A lot of it's improvised. A lot of it is Christopher Guest's model in a way. You know, he execed it.
Did he?
Yes, and it's a real labour of love, and my heart is in that film, and it's on the screen, it's visible. It's a little bit like, there, I did it, and I can die now.
What's it called?
It's called Sunlight.
Sunlight. And will Father be seeing this?
Yes.
He will.
He has been to a private screening, and
I'm going to have a look at it for you now, Nina.
My mum cried.
Did she?
Yeah, she sobbed.
Oh.
Yeah, it was really sweet.
Happy tears.
Happy tears.
Good,
happy
thank
tears.
God.
Yeah.
Not because she was missing Country File.
No, she stood up at the end in the room, and everybody's still sitting down. She, I don't know what to do with myself. I don't know what to do. It was really
isn't
sweet.
That lovely?
Yeah, very sweet.
Would it be right to say it's a great time to be Nina Conti?
Yes, is it?
I want you to allow yourself to hear that, Nina.
That's really nice. It's very hard to imagine yourself as one person, don't you find?
What did you just say?
Well, that's like what Jim Carrey says. He's gone a bit weird and says he's not a person.
Here we
I
go,
feel
right,
a little bit
You're
fragmented.
moving into the gym camp.
Yeah, I'm just a fragmented thing. It's like one day to the next. It's a slightly different version.
I'm not really here. I'm just an
trying
energy.
to be.
You know,
yeah, that sort of thing.
All that sort of thing.
I'm
well,
not fully
that.
I'm not fully that. No, I'm definitely an organism that's here. But
look, I don't know about personal wise, but certainly career wise, I would say you're in a fantastic
place.
It's
a wonderful time, isn't
it? Yeah,
it's a wonderful time, and I'm really looking forward to Edinburgh, because I feel like I feel the very honest thing about Edinburgh and the way I'm doing my show at the moment is I'm naturally a very shy person. Our audience is mainly made up of shy people, but when I put one of my masks on one of them, it creates a monster that doesn't give a damn about tomorrow.
Oh, how lovely.
And so it's really like it's a freeing thing.
Yeah, for both of you.
For both
for the
of
audience
us.
and for you.
For everyone.
And if you want to be a part of that, then get to the Edinburgh Festival. The Edinburgh Festival takes place every year in Scotland, which is to the north of the United Kingdom.
Yes.
My guest has been Nina Conti, and we have reached the end of our time together.
That was very nice.
I'm going to reach out to you, Nina, and shake your hand.
Blue denim meets black denim.